Welcome back here, Jock 98.7. Pleased to be joined by the Executive Director of the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame, Jerald Andrews. Jerald, we're starting to get back to real life. I mean, normalcy is returning in some regard.
In some regard, it is. I don't know that I'll ever get back to normal life again, but when you lose 6 or 7 weeks of your life, it's hard to regain that, and that's kind of what we're dealing with here. So,
How is the overall health of the Hall of Fame?
it's okay.
Yeah.
I don't really know how to respond to that. I mean, as I've told people, I picked up my April P&L, and it's the first time I've ever seen a zero by admissions,
Wow.
in 25 years. And of course, if people aren't going through the museum, they're not buying things in your gift shop, and they're not buying things in the gift shop. Those numbers are off, and the list just goes on and on and on. And I can't tell you how many events and activities that we postponed from March and April and May into August and September and October, and by doing that you're going to lose part of the attendance, part of the participation, and so forth, and we're kind of struggling with that. We have been fortunate that we've now started playing golf again. We had our Lake of the Ozarks tournament on schedule. We had our Springfield tournament on schedule. We had an event in Branson yesterday for the Upper White River Basin Foundation, and hey, it was the largest attendance we've ever had. People are dying to get back outside and do things, and that was proven again yesterday. And most of our attention now, of course, is focused for the next 5 weeks on the Price Cutter Charity Championship. So that's where we're heading toward now.
I was fortunate to play Highland a couple of weeks ago, and they are getting that course in tip-top shape. If you don't like hitting out of the rough, I'll tell you what, that place will eat you up. I mean, I feel like my wrists haven't felt the same since.
Yeah, it's in great shape. Kudos to the superintendent and his grounds crew. They're just the golf course is in fabulous condition, and as much rain as we've had, we experienced that yesterday at Buffalo Ridge, and we did have an event here at Highland a couple of weeks ago that you were in, and we experienced it at Old Kinderhook, and I see it at Silo Ridge. Golf courses are in great shape, and that's going to make for even a more competitive Price Cutter Charity Championship this year.
I'm curious if you have, during all of this shutdown, just strolled through the halls of the Hall of Fame and reminisced on sports and kind of just taken a. Sometimes it's fascinating to look back, as we have with some of these documentaries, whether it was The Last Dance with Michael Jordan or Long Gone Summer featuring Mark McGwire, and just kind of had a chance to, I don't know, reflect on how much sports means to our culture and society.
Well, I think so. It's an example for me is our women's sports luncheon was scheduled for the last week of March. Foolish me, we then rescheduled for April 9th, and then May 5, and then May 20, and now we're scheduled for August 12. But with each rescheduling, people would say to me, "We're so glad that you're going to do this." Even as we started our golf events back, they were like, "Man, we're glad you're going to do this. We want to get back out. We want to get back at it." And what it did to me is, for 25 years, we've had a baseball activity in May for the Hall of Fame. Well, I think now it's scheduled for September 17th. And if they ever decide to play baseball again, maybe that'll be all right. But it's just so strange to, be doing what well, actually, when I started the event 25 years ago, we called it throwing out the first pitch. And we used to do it in conjunction with baseball season starting. Maybe it can be again in September, who knows, but being a little sarcastic with that. But at the same time, it's just been strange to not be having those events on schedule. Springfield Sports Commission awards, the baseball luncheon, the women's sports luncheon activity. And of course, what that has done to us, it's made us reconsider our dates for football and basketball and other activities as well.
Just to be clear, the hall is open, so folks can go
Yes.
and stroll through and look at some of the fantastic memorabilia and memories that have made Missouri sports just so important in our lives.
It is open, and we're seeing a few people. Are we seeing as many as we normally do this time of the year? No, we're not. We our attendance is down even since we've since we've reopened. I just heard some families out here today having fun in the museum, but we're hopeful that will gain momentum and attendance will continue to grow over the next few months here.
There's a quote. If you go to mosportshallofame.com, one of the first quotes you see is Stan Musial in 1963, legendary Cardinal and just human being, who quoted, "I love to play this game of baseball. I love putting on this uniform." And right now, with the game of baseball, Jerald, sometimes I wonder if the players actually really do enjoy putting on the uniform like Stan did.
Well, I don't think you really have to answer that question. I think it's pretty well known what the answer is, and that's not happened just in the last 4 months. That's been happening over an extended period of time, and exactly why it happened. I'm not Whitey Herzog. I can't articulate this message like he can, but if Whitey were on the line today, I've heard him tell the story many times. He'd say, "Hey guys, we grew up playing catch. We grew up out in the street hitting the ball. That was baseball. You lived for it. You had a passion for it. My gosh, I recently cleaned my mother's house out, getting ready to do something with that piece of property, and I found all these old notebooks and stuff. I was a Ken Boyer fan. Everything I owned had number 14 written on it, and we all had heroes of the game like that. And when I think about what's going on today versus the way it was back in the 60s, 50s, 60s, and when I was growing up, there's just no comparison. It seems like for that passion that those people had, and I think we're missing that right now.
I worry about the game of baseball right now. As you've
I do.
pointed out, this didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen in the last 4 months. This has been a ongoing trend of decreased interest in baseball. In fact, there was an article in the Wall Street Journal earlier this week by a guy, Jason Gay, who titled it, "If There's No Baseball, Will You Miss It?" I mean, openly questioning if we'll miss America's pastime.
Yeah, that's true, and I think it's a valid question. I mean, I know I'll miss it, and you got a lot of listeners out there that are going to miss it. But it's a little bit like our kids and our grandkids. I've got a grandson playing, which I'll drive an hour tomorrow to watch him play 3 ball games. But are people that into it today? And the answer is obviously no, they're not. There's other things to do, other things that are occupying their time, and I hate that. I really, really do.
Jerald Andrews is our guest here on JOCK 98.7, Executive Director of the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame. So let's talk about ramping up to the Price Cutter Charity Championship. Obviously, so many benefits of this terrific tournament put on every year. And I have to tell you, every time I look at the golf leaderboard, I have to do a search for Harry Higgs. And you don't have to look very far because he's the reigning champion of the PCCC, and he's playing pretty darn good golf on the tour. But just give us some oversight of how things are ramping up.
Well, it's once again the same condition. We went through 6 or 7 weeks without me making a sponsorship call. Number one, because most of my sponsors weren't working and their businesses were shut down, and I was also afraid to call them because I knew if I got a hold of one of them, they'd probably tell me to go go jump in a lake,
Right.
And so now we're playing catch up, and we're way behind, but we are reaching out. We're getting a hold of people, and people are coming through. They love this event. They love what it does for charity. Golf is important, and I'm sure glad to be a part of the PGA Korn Ferry Tour with this great event, but it really impacts the charities. I had a prospective sponsor in my office earlier today, and I said there's always this golf tournament's going to happen. It's going to happen in spite of me and anything we might do or not do. But the reason it's in its 31st year is what it's done for children's charities over the last 3 decades. And that's why people keep supporting it. That's why people keep giving to it. And, anything we can do to enhance that is obviously helpful to the children's charities that benefit from it. And when you look at PGA golf, we were just kind of batting around, no pun intended, baseball there. But when you think about golf, you obviously think about great players and great golf, but you think about what the PGA Tour events do for charity. And they'll be the first to say, we give away more money annually than Major League Baseball and the NFL and the NBA and the National Hockey League all added together each year. That's been their premise since 1938, is to take their earnings and give it to charity. And that's in my opinion why we still exist here in Springfield today with the Korn Ferry Tour event.
The Pro-Ams, I just look at the numbers alone of what they do to make the world a better place. I mean, it is truly remarkable. I know sometimes we think of golf as being a bit of a privileged sport, if you will, but man, the way that they give back to the communities in which they play in their host cities, both on the PGA and Korn Ferry, it is pretty impressive, Jerald.
Yes, yeah, it is. Sure is. It's been good, and it is. It's part of the stimulus for us to do everything we can to make it work and work well.
So what's your closing message to somebody who is a prospective sponsor? What do you try to kind of engage them with?
Well, obviously we try to tell them where the money's going to go. That's first and foremost, and we try to tell them and explore with them what are they looking for. Are they wanting to entertain clients or customers? Are they wanting to come out and play and participate themselves? Are they looking for exposure? We always try to explore, what are you really interested in? And I tell people it's kind of like a political campaign. When I was involved in the political world many years ago, you had to do about 3 or 4 things to garner someone's vote. And that was normally something related to exposure. It was normally being on the media, and it was normally shaking someone's hand. And the golf tournament is somewhat similar. You want to try to do 2 or 3 things at some level to really get exposure, to be able to entertain folks, and to enjoy it yourself. And we really try to move people in that direction. We still have lots of opportunities available this year in way of playing, in way of entertaining, and in way of networking, being a part of what's going on. A lot of people are asking, how much is it going to be scaled back? And, really, it's not going to be scaled back much. Now, things are going to look a little different, and part of it's going to feel a little different. The protocols are changing daily. Yesterday, 2 days ago, we had 2 calls with the tour, and things changed between about a 4-hour period of time. So protocols are going to be there, and we don't know exactly what all that will look like come our week, but it is going to be there. But we're still having skyboxes. We're still doing corporate tents. We're still playing. Have we changed some things? Absolutely. We're playing by tee time in most events. We've played with shotgun starts for years, but most of the tournaments we're currently doing now, all of our tournaments are tee time, and most of the Pro-Ams will be played by tee time, which has really improved the pace of play. And so there are some advantages to come out of this. The people that have eaten in the Jackson Brothers tent, the VIP eating area, in the past, that's been a large air-conditioned tent. And this year, we're taking the walls off the tent. People will go through a tent, an enclosed tent, to get their food, and then they'll be able to eat in this open-air tent or under a tree with additional tables and chairs.
And, Jerald, there are still partnership opportunities, several ways to get involved. What's the process with entertaining some of those?
Just call the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
That's the best way to go about it. And this is what I do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if they want to talk to me, they should just ask for me, and I'll be glad to visit with them, or any of our folks here that work here full time. I would be happy to visit with them, and all of them know what's available yet to move and can participate with them in an exchange. and would enjoy doing
Can you believe it's going to be the 31st annual? I mean,
that.
I'm just 30, so actually the tournament's going to be older than I am.
I've got clothes that are that old.
But
You
what
know,
an accomplishment! I mean, for the tour
oh
and
my
for the
gosh,
city of
it's
Springfield.
amazing. It is. Yeah, this is my 25th. There were people here before me, and they laid the foundation, and it'll be my 25th year, and I can't believe it's been 25 years. I can't believe what age I was when I started and where I am now, an old man. But yeah, 31 years is a long time, and the irony of that, we talk a lot about that because I think it really proves a point that there are only 4 of these events that are celebrating a 31st year this year. There are only 2 that have been at the same golf course all 31 years. Those are both real compliments to the fans and spectators that are out there. At the same time, you kind of have to do whatever you can to recreate yourself year in and year out. Because there's a little bit of an attitude of, well, I've been there, I've done that, and it was fun, but yeah, that may be a great weekend to go to the lake. We talk a lot about hoping we have good weather. If the weather's too nice, people do other things at times, and that's why we're so excited about Tony Romo coming this year. Romo one is a good golfer. He's very, very good. Can he compete with these kids? Well, we'll find out. But that's going to have a big impact on our Thursday and Friday numbers, we believe. So we're excited about that.
I love how you articulate it as these guys, on the Korn Ferry Tour, they're aggressive, they attack pins, they're trying to get their PGA full status card, and Highland kind of presents a few holes where you can really get after it now.
Yeah. I say this to people, and they kind of scowl at me at times, but this is the most competitive level of golf in the world today. And I have no apologies to say that. These kids take chances that a tour player doesn't have to take. But when they drive 18, they're going for the green if they have any hope of winning this event. I could sit there all day and watch the second shot on 18 here at Highland Springs.
And, of course, if you're not familiar, there's a body of water. I mean, it's an elevated tee shot. It's a good hole.
It is. But these kids take chances. The only way they're going to win their tour card to get to the PGA Tour, is to take those chances. It's critical for them.
What does the tour tell you in private discussions about, how they must appreciate the fans in the city of Springfield for the fine, accommodations that they're set up with here?
Well, they can articulate that better than I can, but they tell this story everywhere they go. This is a flagship event for them. They have other good events too, but this is one of their best. Not because of me, but because of the community, the club, the support that the event garners year in and year out, and what it does for charity. And I can tell you, they've been talking to me for 3 months. When PGA Tour competitive golf stopped, we started having conversations about, it's going to start back up. And I can tell you that the Korn Ferry people were like, when it starts back up, we're going to have to go through some events without spectators, but we're going to play in front of people in Springfield. And that's one of the reasons you're getting to play. It's the luck of the draw. It's where our schedule fell. But we're going to play in front of people here. So.
Well, Jerald, there are a few other things. You got the Missouri Amateur, which is set for June 23rd through the 28th out at Ozark National. We talked briefly about the women's luncheon, which will be August 12th. But give us kind of a rundown of the next 30-so days or so.
Well, tour events actually start this Monday. It's media day, and that's always exciting to kind of kick the whole season off. And then on Tuesday, June 23, will be the sponsors' reception, when sponsors can pick up their tickets and Pro-Am applications, that type of thing. In just a month from Monday, July 13th, will be the Michelle Kaiser Women's Golf Clinic presented by Advertising Plus. And that Wednesday night, the 15th, will be The Nighttime Golf Classic out of Fremont Hills. We've still got a couple of teams available and open for that activity. And then on July 17th is the Bobby and Betty Allison Junior Pro-Am. This is for middle school and high school age young people to play with a pro at River Cut. And from there, it's 10 straight days of activities. The 18th, we have a Pro-Am at Ledgestone. The 19th will be the Cardinals Care Pro-Am at Ledgestone. Monday is the SRC Pro-Am at Highland. Tuesday, we have the Betty Allison's Women's Pro-Am at Millwood. And we also have the Silver Dollar City Pro-Am. And then on Wednesday, July 22, will be the large Price Cutter Pro-Am. And then professional play is 23 of July through the 26th. The 27th is the Golfing for Justice Pro-Am. And then we'll take a couple of weeks off before we have a run and a bike ride and Poker Run Golf Classic at Silo Ridge in Bolivar. We have activities going through October, and we give the money away December 1 or 2 in the fall this year. So, this is not a 4-day event. It literally starts in the middle of June and will end in early December. So a lot of things going on related to the tournament.
Well, Jerald, it's just exciting to think about what's coming and this tournament and its 31st year. It's just spectacular, and I'll tell you what, that course, it's just amazing. It is so beautiful. I find that golf courses to me are like my sanctuary. And when I'm out there,
yes,
it makes me think about a lot of things other than just the game of golf. It brings a lot of lot to the fold.
Right, it does. It does that. Yeah.
Well,
sounds good. Okay.
Jerald, always a pleasure to catch up with you. Look forward
Thank
to
you.
seeing you in the near future, and all the best to you, sir.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That's Executive Director of the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame, Jerald Andrews. We'll take a timeout and continue with this Monday edition of the Sports Report on JOCK 98.7 and the Radio Springfield app.